doctor.
Welcome back. Apple season in South Africa is roughly from February to May, which means if you're wanting to be eating local seasonal fruits, you should be tucking into citrus fruits for the next few months, oranges in particular. Alison, great to have you on the show. We were talking earlier and you were telling me about your son who's got a runny nose, congestion and a cough. Is that a cold or is that an allergy? And how do you tell the difference?
I normally look and see if the mucus is clear, and that tells me it's more of an allergy than a cold.
Okay, you're right about that. Any other sort of signs and symptoms? Mom detective?
Sometimes red eyes, sometimes a niggling cough, but then...
You know what, it's actually really hard to tell the difference even for doctors when it comes to a cold and an allergy. But it's important to know because you treat them very differently. Though the symptoms of an allergy or cold are very similar, there are three key differences that will help you tell them apart. Firstly, the onset. A cold starts gradually and gets progressively worse, whereas an allergy will start instantly. As soon as you're exposed to that allergen, it starts and it's full blown. So onset, that's the first one. The second is the time of the year also gives us a clue. Allergies are usually seasonal. You know, pollen season, for example, is from September to November, whereas you can catch a cold at any time. A lot of us think colds happen more in winter than in summer. That's just because we're spending more time indoors, interacting with one another in close proximity, coughing, sneezing, you know, touching hands, all of that sort of stuff, especially in families. You know, when one son gets it, the other son, and mom and dad, etc., etc. So we're seasonal. And the third thing, and this is by far the most important difference and the most telling, is that a cold seldom lasts longer than 14 days. If you're still experiencing symptoms, or if your son is still experiencing symptoms after 2 weeks, it's unlikely that it's a cold and very likely that it's an allergy. Okay. So what do you think it is, cold or allergy?
Definitely allergy.
Good. Sounds like mom has allergies too, huh?
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, so to reiterate again, if it's less than 14 days, more than likely a cold, anything more than 2 weeks, and you have an allergy. Alison, thank you so very much. Fleas are truly devoted to their work. In one day, a single flea can bite your cat or dog more than 400 times. And during that same day, the flea can then consume more of its entire body weight of your pet's blood. And before it's through, a female flea can lay hundreds of eggs on your pet, ensuring that its work will be carried on for generations to come. What would the final outcome be, Laurien, if we just let fleas have their way on our animals?
Well, fleas, besides just being an intense irritation to animals, you can just imagine with them running around and biting all day long. It's incredibly irritating for the dogs and the cats. That's why you see them scratching and licking and biting. Some animals, however, are also allergic to flea saliva. So every time a flea bites, it causes an intense allergic reaction. Fleas are known to transmit worms. So a lot of the worms that our cats and our dogs get are actually from the flea transmitting it. And besides that, yeah, just the intense irritation.
So it's not something we can ignore in animals. In fact,
no, it's not.
Yeah, vets have said that for every one flea you find in your pet, there are about 100 fleas in your home. And fleas also quite happy to feed in human blood, aren't they? So this is not just an animal problem.
No, they're just looking for a host. So as much as they're feeding on your pets, they're happy to feed on you. And they're an incredible irritation to get rid of once they're in your home as well. Absolutely. So it's a huge pest you want to keep at bay.
And Laurien, tick-borne diseases also affect humans as much as they do dogs.
They do. It's a huge risk that we have. Dogs suffer quite severe diseases that are actually life-threatening if they do get bitten by a tick that's transmitting that disease. And likewise, there are some diseases that humans can get from the same ticks. So there are huge pests that have to be well controlled.
So Laurien, how do we control this? I mean, that's the big issue, is controlling ticks and fleas. Ideally,
you want to prevent it, because once it's in your home, it's a challenge to get rid of. If you do have a problem, though, best idea is go to your vet and speak to them. There are a lot of products out there that suit different households depending on your situation. Chat to your vet, let them advise you on what to use, and treat both pet and the environment, and take it from there. We went to a home recently and spoke to a client there that was struggling with a problem, so we can have a look at what we did with them.
Show them how much you love them with Bob Martin.
Though experts often talk about a tick and flea season during the warmer months, the reality is they have a robust life cycle and remain a threat to our pets at all times. Breaking this cycle requires a multi-step approach.
In our South African climate, ticks and fleas are known to be a problem. As a pet owner, it's important that you prevent these problems occurring in your animals, both for your own health and safety and for those of your pets. If you love them, you need to care for them, and this is one of the elements that you need to focus on.
One of the greatest myths is that indoor pets aren't affected by ticks and fleas. These pests are often introduced to our homes by people and other pets, where they happily lay dormant until the conditions are just right.
Ticks and fleas both have a life cycle that they go through. It's different in ticks and fleas, but it continues all year round. So it's important that you maintain year-round treatment for your pets. If your pet does develop a problem with ticks or fleas, you now need to treat the pet and treat the environment, because especially in the case of fleas, part of the flea's life cycle is actually spent off the pet in your home and garden and not on the pet. When you're treating the pet, you want to buy a product that will kill all the adult fleas that are found on the pet. So your best thing is one of your paw-ons that you can put on the back of the neck, or your sprays that you can also use. You need to obviously follow the manufacturer's instructions, so look on the back of the package just to know how often to use the product to ensure that you continually treat them and you don't have a gap left behind. And then with environmental treatment, you'll find that the pupa and the larva stages of the flea can be found in any dark crevices, in your carpets and in the garden, on your animal's bedding, and so it's important to treat all of those.
With so many effective Bob Martin products to choose from, it's important to take your pet's age, breed, health status and the extent of the infestation into account.
It's vital that you treat your pets against ticks and fleas, not only because they can be a huge irritation to us as owners, but because they can actually be damaging to your pets. Fleas can cause severe allergies in pets and transmit worms to them, and ticks can transmit severely life-threatening diseases to your pets that once they've got can be very difficult to treat, and so it's better to just keep everything at bay and prevent the problem rather than trying to treat it.
To stand a chance of winning one of 4 iPads, buy any Bob Martin healthcare product and SMS Bob Martin your name and the last 4 digits of the barcode to 34517.
Show them how much you love them with Bob Martin.
I want to live the best life.